Okay, so we're going to be looking at this problem here and doing one of these problems where we put in a chemical structure. And these things are actually, you know how riding a bike, when you first start, you're always falling and hurting yourself and you hate it. And then finally you figure out how to do it and it's like, yeah, how was that ever hard? You can never imagine it being hard again, right? It's a lot of chemistry stuff is like that. This is actually very intuitive, but you got to get it through it one or two times, right? First. Okay, so what we have here is sulfur dichloride molecule, SCl2. What would its structure look like? And so what we're going to be doing here is, this is a Lewis structure problem, okay? And so what you want to do is you want to take out a piece of paper and you'd want to go through the process of doing a Lewis structure, which if you remember, you count up the number of valence electrons and then we're going to put it in. Were you guys able to get the Lewis structure on paper? Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah. Let's go ahead and do the Lewis structure real quick, and then I'll put it in, okay? Because I want to make sure you can do it. On an actual test, you're not going to be able to just look it up. I'm not going to allow that.
I don't think it's that hard. It's hard, like determining the structure of
So let me just double check. You got something like this, right? Okay.
It's the electrons that always confuses me.
These part?
Yeah.
Okay, this shunt. This is, okay, so this shunt, if you follow my procedure, not be difficult at all. The Lewis structure should come naturally, organically. It doesn't require any guessing or unsurety. Okay? So let's go ahead and do it real quick so we can get some more practice on that. So what's the next step after I write it out, or, do this under the what's written out on the exam? I need to count my what's? Valence electrons, right? Okay, and so that's the group numbers up on top. And so chlorine has how many? 7. Yep. There's 2 of them. You guys did both things at the same time on me, which is good. The sulfur has how many valence electrons? Yeah, there's 6 on there, right? Same group as oxygen. And so that's a total number. Well, 2 times 7 is 14, 20. And so I have to account for 20 electrons. Okay, so now what do I put in the middle? Sulfur, yeah. And then I make single bonds to the other 2 things, right? So single bond chlorine, single bond chlorine. Right, now I've used how many electrons? Well, each bond is, how many electrons are in a bond? 2, yeah. Has to be 2, right? Because remember, all bonds is overlapping orbitals. Orbitals can only hold 2 electrons. Okay? So each of these lines represents 2 electrons. That's a total of 4 so far, right? Leaving me with 16. Okay, so the next step is what? Distributing the electrons, but do I distribute it in the middle one? Not this step, right? Yeah. I gotta start on the outside. This is very important because if you do this procedure correctly, there will never be any question of where are the lone pairs. You'll automatically distribute them according to these rules, okay? And so I sort of turn myself into an automatic machine, right? I always get these right. Okay, so I've distributed 6 electrons here to get 8. Is that making sense? Which is the noble-like configuration, right? And then what do I do here? Same thing, you got it. My screen's so dirty I gotta wipe it off to see. That's not good. Okay, so I've filled in these, haven't I? And then I need to figure out how many I've used, so I know how many I have left. So that's 2, 4, 6. I did that twice. So that's 12 I've used. Yep, I have 4 more. And where do those go now? The sulfur, yeah, the center. That's the next step. The step after that, if you need it, would be to move electrons that are on these outer atoms into double bonds if you need more electrons here. But we don't in this case, do we? No, we're full. We have an octet or a noble-like configuration, right? And so guess what? That is our structure, isn't it? So that's our Lewis structure right there. Enter that. You guys all got that okay? Okay. Because if I happen to forget it, which I doubt I will, but I will need to ask you guys. Oh, by the way, if you ever were doing problems in here and you guys hear somebody give me the wrong information, please let me know. Because I have to get you guys to do calculations and give me problem information. And yeah, I was doing it the other day, and somebody gave me, they had another problem that was up on their screen, and they started giving me numbers from that. Told me. It was quite something. So we worked out this whole problem. Okay, so right now I'm just on the single bond. You see that? So I select the single bond, and I put a single bond in. Okay? And I'm just doing that because I want bonds. All right? I want 2 single bonds going to a center thing, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and click on this middle one again. And look at that. Now I have 2 single bonds going to a central. Okay, and then I want sulfur in the middle, so I'm going to hit sulfur on the bottom here. See that? And then I'm going to put that in the middle. Oops. I Control Z to get rid of that. And then I get rid of the dang bond. I forgot to get rid of that. And hit sulfur. So if I don't have a bond selected, it will replace it. And then if I remember correctly, I have CLs, SCl. Yep. And so I replace these carbons with CLs. And there we go. Okay? I could have also done it a variety of different ways. Let's say I screwed up. That's the eraser right there. I get rid of it. Okay? I didn't want to get rid of it. Control Z. That's undo, which is this button right here. Oh, I did want to get rid of it. Redo. Just this button right here, right? Okay. I could have also, no bond selected, sulfur, put that in the middle. Single bond, Cl, click, click on that sulfur, right? I would have made my bonds off of it. Okay? You see how you can do different things with it? Lone pair, I need to put in my lone pairs now. How many lone pairs do I put on the chlorine? Yep, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just click it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then in the middle, sulfur. 1, 2. And that's it. It's actually pretty straightforward and easy, right? You just got to pay attention to what you have clicked. And how you can always tell is this lit up, right? Okay, is there any questions or? Just make sure you actually do it, because if you don't do it before you forget it, it'll all go away. And then you'll have to learn on your own again. Okay.